President Trump has claimed Chicago is, quote, the world's most dangerous city. CBS's Usher Qureshi is there for us tonight with new reporting on the growing tensions.
For weeks now, armed federal agents, some in full tactical gear, have been patrolling downtown Chicago, and new clashes have broken out mostly outside the suburban ICE facility, but also spilling into neighborhoods, hospitals, even outside schools. Operation Midway Blitz, as it's been called, has turned more aggressive, with ICE agents conducting overnight raids of apartments, leaving residents shaken in many cases. Each weekend, protesters have taken to the streets, and confrontations with ICE agents, some in masks, have become more intense with the use of tear gas, pepper balls, and rubber bullets. Federal officials say it's ICE agents who are under attack, both physically and through doxing, having their personal information published online. President Trump says National Guardsmen are now needed to protect federal facilities and personnel. But Senator Tammy Duckworth told Face the Nation's Margaret Brennan it's the president who has instigated this.
It's a misuse of the National Guard. They're not needed in this particular role. If President Trump really wanted to fight crime, then maybe he should stop defunding the police.
The president has called Chicago a hellhole in need of intervention.
Club in Atlanta, 5 Plus News. I'm John Opp.
Why he choking him, man? Y'all supposed to be out here choking messages.
ICE and other federal agents are currently in Chicago to fight against crime and immigration on behalf of President Trump's latest push to clean up cities across the country. Now, at the top of September, we reported Trump's threats to send in the National Guard to Chicago, only to be met with pushback from city officials and warnings from some of their residents that gangs in Chicago would not be an easy fight. Now, part of Operation Midway Blitz, ICE and other agents have begun sweeping through Chicago, which has now raised concerns of Black Chicago residents and others on who ICE is targeting. Just 2 nights ago, close to 300 armed agents would raid an apartment complex in a Black neighborhood at 2 in the morning. According to reports, the raid was expected to focus on potential Venezuelan immigrants and gang members, but would end up disrupting the lives of Black residents and children during the night.
Shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents.
One of the Black American residents whose door was kicked in and was detained would share what he experienced, sharing that he was put into a van with others after assuming agents had the wrong home. While speaking to local outlet Block Hub Chicago, the man would go on to reveal, "They didn't tell me why I was being detained." Another Black Chicago resident who was also detained will go on to tell local news about the moment she was grabbed by ICE. This report now circulating online, many fellow Black Americans are speaking out about what they're hearing coming out of Chicago, some even fearing that they could be next. Several would take to TikTok and social media to respond.
Y'all, few Black people that were so happy about them going after the Hispanic people. I told y'all when this first started, we were next.
So I made a video a few months back, and all in my comments, people were telling me this ain't got nothing to do with African American people, this ain't got nothing to do with Black people, they only rounding up the Mexicans, so on and so forth. And I kept saying, this is going to roll over into our communities, this is going to affect us in some way, shape, or form. Like, stop being so naive to make it seem like they're just targeting one group of people, because that's not the case. And then what happens in Chicago? In the middle of the night, they detained, ICE detained for several hours African American people, and not just adults, children as well. Children as well. They are detaining and then asking questions later.
In case you ain't know, them folks done ran up into an apartment complex in the middle of Chicago, and regardless of how them folks spoke, regardless of where they said they was from, regardless of how they appeared, they got thrown into a van and sent in for questioning. Some folks didn't get out until 3 a.m., and that's for the older elderly women. That means that is an illegal search. That is an illegal arrest, going into your property, search and seizure, and then sending you in for questioning. And if you had a warrant out for your arrest, you're not getting sent back. That is not normal. That is not okay.
At 6, there is no indication at all that the federal government is going to be back up and running anytime soon.
Right now, the Senate is holding another round of procedural votes on funding bills that failed last week. So here's the latest for you. The House is out this week after Speaker Mike Johnson canceled all votes, saying the chamber did its job in passing short-term spending bills last month. The White House, though, warns that key food assistance programs like SNAP and WIC will run out of money very soon if the government does not reopen. And Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says fewer TSA agents are showing up for work.
We're tracking sick calls, sick leave, and have we had a slight tick up in sick calls? Yes. And then you'll see delays that come from that.
We are keeping track of any delays impacting us here with the world's busiest airport.
11 Alive's Marissa Sarback joining us live from Hartsfield-Jackson International. So, Marissa, how is it looking at the TSA lines right now?
It's looking pretty good, Ron, Jennifer. We also went over to the baggage claim earlier today, and we spoke with some travelers coming in. They told me that things were a little bit slower at some other airports, but here in Atlanta, things were moving pretty well. And as you can see, the TSA line is pretty short here. Things are moving in the right direction, at least for now.
How do I ration out my check to make sure that I'm covering bills? Do I not pay this bill? Reaching out to their creditors, their mortgage companies saying, hey, what can you do to assist?
These are the questions TSA workers are now asking themselves. They get a partial paycheck on October 11th, which includes pay up to September 30th. After that, they won't get a paycheck until the government reopens.
I hate to just reduce it down to TSA officers because most American citizens are living paycheck to paycheck.
Local union president Aaron Barker says TSA agents are concerned the shutdown might go on for an extended period of time, like it did in 2018.
In the past, when we did have the 35-day shutdown, most officers toughed it out. They did try to find a way, to get to work, even if it wasn't every day. Some of them did elect to do like Uber, DoorDash. Well, I think and Instacart during that time.
He says they'll have no other option but to resort to other ways of making ends meet.
Federal employees are feeling like pawns right now in the middle of a game. Our congressional leaders are not going to go without pay. So why play around with everyone else's?
Shalom, Koholim La, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Also, Daman Sidels of GMS and Anasi Wakim. Peace and bless your brothers and sisters. Listen, the Church of the Firstborn, the hopeful elect. Koholim La, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Do this very quick video today to the power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I don't know what I'm titled this. We did the highways and hedges, the beginning of sorrows. You know what? Through the Spirit, man, this is the labor pains have begun. The labor pains have begun, man. It's official, man. Okay? Like we said, the war of Armageddon is in the background. There will be no peace, no matter what peace deal they try to draw up. We just did a video on this dude, Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, talking about call all the top generals and admirals and told them to prepare for war, man. And Trump talked about the enemy from within. And we know that the war of Armageddon is going to be set off, man. So there will be no peace, man. This is the time of war, man. Just did a video on that in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. There's a time for every season and every purpose under the heavens. This is the time of war. And like our King Yahweh Shai said, the beginning of sorrows, right? The famine, that's going to happen. Revelation, the 6th chapter, the black horse. Measure wheat and barley for a penny or entire day's wages. We know you have the tariffs. It's just officially kicked in. Right? You have the government shut down, man. A whole lot of people losing their jobs. A whole lot of Eves losing their jobs. A lot of people are forlorn. A lot of people are working and not getting paid, man. Right? Because they also now, they pushing that AI takeover as well. Replacing human with machines. And we know we just did videos on the whole digital ID. This dude passed legislation on the stable coins, the Genius Act, which is pretty much a backdoor for the CBDC. A whole lot of things is happening in that beast system. And now we see he sent the ICE agents out. They in Chicago, raising hell. And also the federal troops as well, man. And guess what? They didn't only go after Hispanics. We told you, Jakestat. We told you, Jakestat, man. They wasn't just going to go after Hispanics, man. Nah, they grabbing Negroes up, man. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with their children, cleared out the whole building. Right? People said they was dragging them out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and detained them for hours, man. Right? And this is all the Lord, man. This is all the Lord. Because we've been warning you. We've been telling you that this man is the devil. Like it tells you in Psalms 140th chapter, when they continually gather together for war. Right? That's why they changed their name from the Department of Defense to Department of War. And who are they going after? You tribes, man. Like Yahweh Shai said, it's all the beginning of sorrows, but the end is not yet. There's going to be wars and rumors of wars. There's going to be nation against nation. There's going to be a civil war, aka a race war in the society. All right? And we could see things are stirring, man. The pot is stirring. All right. So like we said, man, it has begun. The plays are not slack. And there ain't no going back, man. Right. It's just things are just going to keep amping up until the climax, which is Yahweh Shai making his second coming. And of course, the missiles being shot in the war of Armageddon. Right. So this is the time. Let's get 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter. Don't want to rant too long. Let's get a couple of precepts. And yeah, we in that time, man. We in that time, man. We told you, Jake Stat, man. Right? You ain't listening. And a lot of you still ain't listening, man. Should tell you wisdom is too high for a fool, man. Right? All this shit going on in nigga mind, he still ain't listening. The only time you're gonna listen is when you get quartered off to a concentration camp and the economy collapse. All right? When this man shut down the banks, his cyber attacks, more T attacks, that's when everybody's going to try to get to. That's when they're going to try to listen to the vision of the prophets in Ezekiel, the 7th chapter. But it's going to be too late. Let's read 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 17. Let me read 18. For the time is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteth the vision to come, which thou hast seen. Scripture says, now hasteneth the vision to come. So like we said, the visions are no longer being prolonged anymore, taking a long time, right? The visions is hastening to come, right? One after another, man. And that proves that the elect is being sealed. Okay, the grace period is almost up, right? You Israelites, you don't have that much time left, man. And you know, this 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter is beautiful because Angel Uriel told him that. Let me get 2nd Ezra, 6th chapter. He told him, look, greater evils than you see are going to happen. And that how the world had got weakened through age. Okay, and from his time period, it was 1030. He said the world was divided into 12 parts, and it was 1030 in his time. And he only had a time and a half left. And what was going to be the last ruling empire that Ezra saw, 2nd Ezra, the 11th and 12th chapter? The Greco-Roman Empire. Right? When Yahweh Shai came, that was what? The beginning of the end. Who was ruling? The Romans. Aishah, man. Okay, now we at his toes, the iron mixed with miry clay. NATO. Okay? But what's the 8th head, aka the whore, that controls NATO? That's America. See? And now we at the time of Babylon's end, America's end, right? But Aishah, you see that his kingdom is coming to an end. He's going to come down with that holy hell, man. And his main enemy is Jacob. That's why it's called Jacob's trouble, man. But the elect is going to get saved out of it. All right. Let me get 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. It tells you that Aishah, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Like I said, they bring a couple of precepts out to the poverty, how Bashim Shah. When the labor pains have begun, man. The labor pains have begun, man. This is a place, man. This society is going to collapse. The economy, like we said. Aishah, he going to try to do his great reset, which is bringing forth that beast system, the MOTB. Still got Israelites out there that can't see it, man. Oh, well. Let's read 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. It says, 2nd Ezra, chapter 6. When you read further down, Aishah is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Let's read on down. It says, 2nd Ezra 6, verse 11. And I answered and then said, O Lord, thou bearest rule. If I found favor in thy sight, I beseech thee, show the servant the end of thy tokens or the signs, whereof thou showest me part of the last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand by upon thy feet, and hear a mighty sounding voice. And it shall be as were a great motion, but the place whereof thou standest shall not be moved. He says, stand and wait here, right? And therefore, when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the word is of an end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth, and he moved, for it knoweth that the end of these things must be changed, right? So he told him to wait, and he's going to get more revelation, right? It says, and it happened that when I heard it, I stood upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters, right? And that was a chariot speaking to him. It says, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, man. See? The Lord said what? He's going to begin to visit them that dwell upon the earth. This is that visitation. And this is the time, because he said what? And I would begin to make inquisition of them, that they that hurt the unjustly with their unrighteousness. Who's the unjust? I shall in these nations. Right? The scripture says they rejoiced when the two witnesses fell, Judah and Israel. And he said, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. Our affliction, our humiliation have pretty much been fulfilled. That's what we got the truth. That's Book of Lamentations, the 4th chapter, man. That's what we got the truth after the 3 days and a half. So the Lord said, when that happened, then I'm going to begin to draw nigh to them that are upon the earth. And I'm going to make inquisition. I'm going to start bringing that judgment down. And who's going to get judged? America, Babylon, man. All right. That's all right. Matter of fact, so, let me get, it's mainly freestyling. In fact, let me stay in the apocrypha. Let me get Sirach, the 18th chapter. So Yahweh Shem Shah, man, the affliction of Zion is fulfilled, right? But like we said, Aishah, let me get Ecclesiasticus. He is a part of the sword of the Lord, and the Lord is going to loose this man one last time, man. And it's really to get at the 2/3, those that despise the word. They despise Yahweh Shai, man. They despise his men. So he's going to put you into the hand of your enemies, man. And what did King David say? Listen, I'd rather be in your hands than to be in the hands of man, because at least you're merciful. What happens when Yahweh Shem Shah had put us in the hand of our enemies? Look what the Assyrians did. Look what the Babylonians did, man. Okay? Look what Aishah did to us in slavery. Okay? And he's about to do it again, man. This is going to be the worst time ever. Let's read the Sirach chapter 18, verse 24. It says, Sirach chapter 18, verse 24. It says, think upon the wrath that shall be at the end, and the time of vengeance. This is that time. When he shall turn away his face, he's going to withdraw his mercy. Okay, you're supposed to seek his face now, which is the truth. Right? Seek Yahweh Shai now, man. All right? That's how we exalt Yahweh Shai, man. All right? It says, when thou hast had enough, remember the time of hunger. And when thou art rich, think upon poverty and need. All right? From the morning unto the evening, the time is changed, and all things are soon done before the Lord. A wise man will fear in everything, and a day of sinning he will beware of offense. But a fool will not observe time. That's the point I wanted to get out. A fool will not observe time, man. That's what Yahweh Shem Shah. That's what we read the precept. He said what? Remember the time of hunger, man. When you are rich, don't be complacent. And these people out here, they caught up into their security, they job, they benefits. Some jakes got the bag. Scripture says, remember hunger and poverty, man, because that's coming. Like you read Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter, talks about lamentation and mourning. Okay? The city of confusion. I'm going to get to Isaiah, the 24th chapter, is going to be broken down. All joy and mirth is going to be gone, man. Right? The scripture says from morning unto evening, the time is changed. So the Most High can change your circumstances just like that, man. Overnight. Look at this whole government shutdown. We don't know how long that's going to go on, man. Right? But people got their job, their benefits, you know what I mean? But just like that, you can lose it, man. Like much people lost all these federal jobs. A lot of people furloughed. That's why the scripture says, man, you're not supposed to get caught up into those things, man. Right? Scripture tells you, riches make itself wings. You can have it today and it could be gone tomorrow, man. That's why you got to have faith and you got to fear the Lord, man. And above all, like the precept says in verse 27, a fool will not observe the times, man. Like Yahweh Shai said, can he not discern the signs of the times, man? Right? Ever since this man Trump came in office, man, this dude hasn't stopped, man. And like we said, it's only going to get worse, man. And we been sounding the trumpet, right? Pushing the right doctrine, warning you, because that's the spirit of the Mashiach, telling you what's about to come, telling you that Babylon, that the writing is on the wall for this place. Okay? And telling you that 2/3 you're going to be destroyed, man. Let me get Revelation the 14th chapter, actually. Matter of fact, let me get Amos, and then I might jump, actually, Amos. Because that Amos 8 chapter is beautiful. Amos, as we know, was a prophet from the southern kingdom, but then he went up to warn the northern kingdom. And he told them what was going to happen. Right? He told them what was going to happen. Let me get Amos chapter 8, verse 1. It says, "Thus hath the Lord showed unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit." Talking about fruit, like I said. Matter of fact, let me read. "And he said, Amos, what seest thou? And I said, a basket of summer fruit. Then the Lord said unto me, the end is come unto my people Israel, and I will again not again pass by them any more." Let me get Revelation the 14th chapter. Right? Since we're talking about fruit. That means that the judgment was ripe. Right? And what did the Lord, let's get Revelation chapter 14. Verse 14. And I looked, I'm going to jump back to Amos. "And I look, and behold, a white cloud." There's a chariot, right? Also goes to Revelations, the 6th chapter, the white horse, Yahweh Shai. Also goes to Psalms, the 45th chapter, right? And is it a chariot? It's what they call the UFOs. "And upon the cloud, one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time for thee to reap." Let me read it again. "For the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe," man. Judgment. Now it's time for that judgment, man. The harvest of the earth is ripe. I'm going to jump back to Amos. "And he sat on the cloud, thrusting his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reap," man. Okay, so let me read. This whole precept is good, and we know what the Lord is going to reap. He's going to bring all that destruction, right? This is a part of that destruction, and he's mainly going to reap what? The fruits, the first fruits, the elect. Okay, the elect, man. Just like you have during the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Ingathering, right? You would go out there during the brightest moon, and you would gather your fruits to prepare for the winter, man. Well, the Lord has come back to reap his fruit, man. Right? The scripture tells you that. Let's read on, though. Let's read 18. "And another angel came out of the altar, which had power of fire, and crowded the loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe." Let me read on down to verse 20. Let me just read on down the entire thing. Right? So it says, "And the angel thrust in a sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great wine press of the wrath of the Most High," man. This is that time, man. All right. "And the wine press was trodden without the city, and blood came out the wine press, even unto the horse's bridle." That's how much blood is going to be out here, man. Right? That's what Yahweh Shai said. "You think I come to send peace? I ain't come to send peace with a sword." He said, "I come to send fire upon earth, and what will I if it already be kindled?" The earth is going to be well on fire and in turmoil and chaos and ruin before Yahweh Shai return, man. Right? Scripture tell you blood is going to be up to the horse's bridle by the space of 1,600 furlongs. That's how much judgment, especially in Babylon, America, man. That's why I said, let me jump back to Amos, the 8th chapter. So the Lord is also, he's going to bring that wrath, but he's also going to reap his precious fruit, his elect. Right? So let's jump back to the book of Amos, like I said. Right? Because this is all the beginning of that. What's happening right now in Chicago, different parts of the United States. You know, they detention centers, and they're coming after all 12 tribes, man, like we told you. Right? And then soon they're going to have the rest of you damn Edomites that's cheering on the sideline. Y'all going to get quartered off into camps too, man. Because the elite don't like you retards either, man. You're useless eaters. You gotta go, man. Right? But let me read Amos. Let me jump back to Amos chapter 8, verse 3. It says, I just read it, the summer fruit, tagged that with Revelation, the 14th chapter, that all represented that Yahweh Shem Shah, pretty much the harvest is ripe. Judgment is on the way. Right? And he said, what? Verse 3, Amos 8 and 3. And the songs of the temple, right? Because the temple is supposed to be about praising Yahweh Shem Shah, joy, gladness, right? Lifting up the voice. Well, he said, well, instead of that, he said, what? And the songs of the temple shall be howlings in that day, saith the Lord power. There shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence, man. You're going to have bodies everywhere, man. Scripture of Jeremiah, the 16th chapter, that people bodies is going to be like dung, right? People not going to have time to, bury your bodies, man. Have a ceremony, right? That's not going to happen, man. Okay? Bodies everywhere, man. Whole bunch of people going to get beheaded, killed, starved to death. Cannibalism everywhere, man. That's coming, man. That's the wrath that we just read in Revelation, the 14th chapter. And like we said, this is the beginning, man. The beginning of the birth pains. See? Scripture says they haste to flee from these times, man. And we've been saying that, warning you, Jakes. And, Negroes don't listen. And that's perfectly fine, man. Don't listen, man. Okay? Like the scripture says, whoso despises the word shall be destroyed, man. You're going to be destroyed, man. Okay? So like we said, it's not just going to be Chicago. Man, this whole place is going to be on fire, man. The city's going to be broken out. We just did a video not too long ago on 2nd Ezra, the 15th and the 16th chapter, which is two beautiful chapters because it paints a very vivid picture how society is going to look, man, when Yahweh Shem Shah really turned this thing up. All right? But I'm going to close it out with this last precept. Like I said, I didn't want to do nothing long. Just mainly, news report, current events, what's going on in the cities. And like I said, these are the beginning of sorrows, man. All right? Let me read one more precept. Sirach, the 34th chapter. Sirach chapter 34, verse 13. It says, but this is for us. Sirach 34, verse 12. I was oft times in danger of death, yet I was delivered because of these things. The spirit of those that fear the Lord shall live, for their hope is in him that saveth them. Our hope is in the Lord, man. Verse 14. Whoso feareth the Lord shall not fear, nor be afraid, for he is their hope, man. He's our hope, man. Right? So we don't fear Aisha, what he's about to do, his schemes, his devices, his plans. Right? Like with Psalm in the 2nd chapter, they want to examine us with torture. We don't fear none of those things, man. Like Yahweh Shai said, don't fear those that can kill the body. Fear him that can kill both soul and body in hell, aka Gehenna, the second death. Not that nonsense that IUIC is teaching, someplace you burn in the ground, man. Fear Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, man. Because at the end of the day, he's the one that's bringing forth Jacob's trouble. Right? And he's the only one that can save you, man. So fear him. Okay? So that, like to say, call him La Yahweh Shem Shah. Hopefully the lesson was edifying. With that, I like to say, Shalom.